The rescue Ethan Cole was a space pilot from Earth. He was flying a solo patrol mission near the outer edge of known space. It was supposed to be a quiet job, just scan the area and return. But things didn't go as planned. A strange energy signal appeared on his radar before he could report it. His ship was hit by something invisible. The controls went dead. And the ship crashed on a green planet with purple skies. Ethan woke up with a sharp pain in his leg. The ship was broken and his comms were silent. He looked around, breathing heavily. Tall trees, glowing plants, and strange sounds filled the air. This was not a place he knew. He grabbed his emergency pack and limped into the forest he needed. Shelter and a way to survive until rescue arrived. As he moved, he heard a scream. A high-pitched, terrified scream from nearby. It wasn't human, but it was someone in danger. Ethan followed the sound. Pushing through thick bushes, he reached a clearing and saw a young alien woman surrounded by beast-like creatures. They were big, with red eyes and sharp claws. The girl had fallen and was trying to protect herself. Her skin was silver blue, and she wore tribal clothes. Ethan didn't think. He acted. He pulled out his plasma flare and threw it between the creatures. It exploded with a flash, scaring them back. For a second. Then he ran forward, firing his stun blaster. Two of the creatures ran. One stayed to fight. Ethan aimed, shot again, and hit it. It dropped to the ground with a loud growl. The girl looked at Ethan with wide eyes. He held out a hand, and she slowly reached for it. They ran together into the trees. Ethan limped, but kept moving. The girl helped him. Putting his arm over her shoulder, they reached a small cave hidden behind vines. There, they rested, breathing hard. Ethan looked at the girl. She was calm now. She didn't speak English, but her eyes said thank you. Ethan nodded, trying to smile. Then the pain hit him harder. He had a wound on his leg, deeper than he thought. He fell back, dizzy. Before everything went dark, he saw her holding his hand. When Ethan woke again, it was night. The girl had made a fire and used plants to wrap his leg. He was surprised, but thankful. She sat close, watching him with quiet eyes. They didn't speak the same language, but they understood each other. Later that night, torches appeared in the forest. Figures with glowing tattoos and spears stepped out. They wore the same style as the girl. She stood and ran to them, speaking in a fast, musical language. They looked at Ethan with curiosity. Then surprise. Then awe. One older man stepped forward. Wearing a robe and many beads, he looked at Ethan, then said something in a deep voice. The girl translated using signs. She pointed to herself, then to Ethan, then made a circle with her. Hands over their hearts. Ethan didn't understand, but something serious was happening. The elder nodded, and the tribe began chanting. They lifted Ethan carefully and carried him through the forest. The trees opened to a glowing village built into cliffs and trees. Lights floated in the air, and soft music played from wind chimes. It was beautiful, but Ethan was confused. They laid him on a soft bed made of woven grass. The girl stayed near him, smiling. Then the elder returned. Holding a ceremonial robe and a glowing crystal, he spoke again. This time slowly. The girl helped translate with gestures. You have saved the life of the daughter of the Moon Clan. This act means you are now bound to her. You are her protector. You are her husband. Ethan's eyes widened. He tried to speak. To explain it was a misunderstanding, but they were already celebrating. People danced. Music played. The girl, sorry, he learned her name, sat beside him. Blushing, she didn't seem upset. She seemed happy. Ethan leaned back, overwhelmed. He had crashed on an alien world, fought monsters, saved a princess, and now he was married. He looked at the stars above. Somewhere, Earth was out there, but here, something strange was just beginning. The drums grew louder. The fire rose high. Ethan closed his eyes, wondering what would happen next. Ethan Cole sat by. A glowing fire. His legs still hurt, but he could move better now. The alien tribe had given him food, water, and strange medicine that worked fast. But his mind wasn't healing as quickly. He had just learned that saving a girl from danger was seen as a wedding proposal. The girl's name was Sari. She was not just part of the tribe. She was important, maybe a leader's daughter. And now, Ethan was being treated like someone special. But he didn't feel special. He felt confused and stuck everywhere he went. The tribe smiled at him. Children ran around him, calling him protector. Some even bowed when he passed. The elder, they called him Koro, always nodded with great respect. And Sari followed him with soft eyes, never far away. Ethan tried to talk to her. He spoke in English, used hand signs, even drew pictures in the dirt. Slowly, Sari began to understand a few words. She repeated his name carefully, like it was sacred. Ethan, she said, touching her chest. No, he corrected gently. Smiling, I'm Ethan. You're Sari. She smiled back. Repeating both names proudly, the village was full of life. Homes built in trees, bridges made of vines, lights that floated like fireflies. At night, they sang songs under the stars. Ethan watched and listened, always feeling like he didn't belong. Even though they treated him like one of them, he still wanted to go home. One morning, Sari brought him a robe made of shining leaves and blue threads. She helped him wear it, then led him through the village. The people had gathered near a wide platform decorated with flowers and crystals. Koro stood in the center, holding a staff carved with symbols. Ethan looked around. Nervous? Is this a meeting? He asked. Sari tilted her head. Confused, she took his hand, placed it over her heart, then over his. The crowd clapped softly. That's when Ethan understood. This wasn't just a ceremony. It was the ceremony. The wedding panic rose in his chest. He stepped back, shaking his head. No, no. I can't marry someone I just met, he said. He tried to explain with signs, pointing to the sky, pretending to fly, showing he had to go. Sari's smile faded. The music stopped. The people looked at each other, confused and murmuring. Koro stepped forward, serious now. He raised his staff and spoke in their deep, slow language. Sari bowed her head, looking heartbroken. Koro then pointed at Ethan and said one word, loud and clear. Vatrakel. The crowd gasped. Ethan didn't know the meaning, but it didn't sound good. Sari turned to him and gently placed a hand on his chest. She drew a symbol in the air, a broken line, she whispered. Shame. Ethan's heart sank in. Their culture, refusing the bond, wasn't just rude. It was dishonor. He felt trapped. He never meant to hurt anyone. He just saved a life like any human would. He sat down on a log, breathing hard. Sari sat beside him. Silent, she didn't cry. But her eyes were glassy. He looked at her, really looked. She had risked her own safety to help him. Cared for his wounds, shared her world. She never forced anything. She was just following what she believed was right. Ethan realized she was also caught in this tradition, maybe even more than he was. That night, he sat alone on a cliff above the village. He turned on his broken device again. A small light blinked a weak signal. He adjusted the frequency, boosted the antenna. A message finally got through. It was static, but he heard a few words. Ethan Cole. Signal received. Extraction team searching. He had hope. A rescue might be coming. But as he looked back toward the village lights, something tugged at his heart. Was leaving the only answer. Suddenly, the ground shook. A distant boom echoed through the forest. Screams followed. Smoke rose from the eastern trees. Ethan grabbed his gear and ran back toward the village. He saw flames and people running. Creatures or warriors in black armor were attacking. And in the middle of it all, Sari stood with a spear. Fighting to protect her people, Ethan didn't think. He picked up a stun grenade from his belt, jumped from a tree, and hit the ground running. Blaster ready, heart pounding, the tribe. Needed help? Sorry needed him. Whatever culture. Whatever bond, that didn't matter now. This was about doing the right thing. Again. Smoke filled the air. Flames licked the trees. Screams echoed through the alien forest. Ethan Cole ran toward the chaos, heart racing like a war drum. He didn't know who was attacking, but he knew one thing. Sari was in danger. The village was under attack by strange warriors. They wore black armor with glowing red eyes. They moved fast and without mercy. Ethan dove behind a stone wall as a spear flew past his head. He peeked around the edge and saw Sari fighting like a storm. She moved with skill and fire, her spear glowing at the tip, but she was outnumbered. Ethan pulled out his stun blaster and aimed carefully. He hit 2 attackers, stunning them instantly. The others turned toward him, surprised by his weapon. Sari saw him. Her eyes wide, not with fear, but with fire. Together, they fought. Side by side, alien warrior and human soldier, moving as one after a hard battle. The enemy retreated into the jungle. The village was wounded, but not broken. The people began to gather, healing the hurt. Sari walked over to Ethan, breathing hard. She touched his arm and nodded with respect. Then she said a single word, softly, "Stay." Ethan looked around. Children held on to their parents, scared. The elder Koro limped past him, helping. An injured warrior, this tribe wasn't just tradition and rules. They were people, real people, and they needed help. Later that night, Ethan sat near the fire again. Sari brought him water and a soft fruit that tasted like honey and mint. They sat together in silence. Then Ethan spoke slowly, hoping she'd understand. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't know." Sari looked at him with calm eyes, then nodded. She took a stick and began to draw in the dirt. She drew 2 people standing apart. Then a fire between them. Then 2 people standing side by side, holding hands. Ethan understood. It wasn't about rules. It was about choosing to stand together. He sighed. He had one working device left. He could still signal Earth and ask for pickup, but would he go? The next morning, Ethan climbed a high ridge with Sari. From there, they could see far beyond the village. Mountains, rivers, even a far-off temple carved into stone. Sari pointed toward the horizon and spoke in her soft language. She was telling him something, maybe about her people, her dreams, or her fears. Ethan listened, even if he didn't understand every word. He watched the sunrise light her silver-blue skin. Something inside him shifted. Suddenly, they heard a rustle in the trees. Ethan grabbed his blaster, but Sari raised a hand. A small group of strangers appeared, not from the black-armored clan, but different. They wore dark green armor and had symbols on their faces. One of them stepped forward and bowed. Ethan stepped in front of Sari, protective. The man spoke in broken galactic common. "We are from the River Clan. We bring a message. The one who saved the Moon Daughter must come with us." Ethan frowned. Sari looked surprised and worried. The man continued. "Our leader wishes to see you. It is tradition. When a bond is broken or unsure, the fire path must be walked." Ethan looked at Sari, confused again. She explained with signs. If he didn't accept the marriage, or if he had doubts, he must go on a trial, the fire path. It was a test, a journey of choice and honor. Only after walking the path would he be free, or fully accepted. Ethan didn't like being told what to do, but something about this felt right. If he was going to make a choice to leave or to stay, he had to understand them first. He turned to Sari, then nodded. "I'll walk it," he said. That night, the tribe prepared a small pack for him, Sari gave him a crystal tied to a string, a gift, a sign of trust. She didn't ask him to stay. She didn't cry. She simply whispered, "Come back if your heart wants to." Ethan left the village at dawn. He walked into the misty forest, alone. The fire path was unknown. But somewhere ahead lay his answer. Was this bond just alien tradition, or something more real than anything back on Earth? The jungle was silent as he stepped forward, his mind full of questions, his heart caught between two worlds. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Ethan Cole walked slowly through the thick trees. He had been on the fire path for 3 days, each night. He slept under glowing leaves. Each day he faced trials meant to test his body and his soul. He fought off a jungle beast with no weapons. He crossed a river where the stones shifted as he stepped. He climbed a cliff to light a flame with just 2 sticks, but the hardest part was being alone. No voice, no guidance, no sorry, and still no answer. He didn't know if he belonged to this world or to the stars. He didn't know if the bond with Sari was real, or just built from strange rules and survival. Then, on the 4th morning, he reached a clearing. There stood an ancient temple made of black stone. 2 guards from the river clan stood at its entrance. They looked at him, then opened the stone gate. He entered, heart pounding like a war drum. Inside, a woman waited. Her skin was dark silver, her eyes like burning coals. She wore armor made of metal and bone. She was the matron of the fire path, and her job was simple: ask one question. She stepped forward, and her voice echoed in the stone chamber. You were not born of this land. You did not grow under its moons, yet you saved one of ours. Now, answer. Why did you do it? Ethan stood silent. He thought of that day, the scream, the fear, the instinct. He didn't think about culture or marriage or alien laws. He just saw someone in danger, and he acted. Because it was right, he said. The matron tilted her head. And if it cost you your freedom. Ethan shrugged. Still right. She said nothing for a moment, then stepped aside. The fire path is complete. She said, your heart has spoken louder than your words. But before Ethan could take a breath, the ground trembled. Dust fell from the temple ceiling. A loud boom echoed from the jungle. Another, closer this time. He ran outside, climbed the temple steps for a better view. Smoke, fire. The Moon Clan was under attack again. And this time, it was worse. Dark ships flew low, dropping metal beasts onto the land. Black-armored invaders marched across the fields. Ethan's blood ran cold. Sari was down there. Kay had to go back. He grabbed his gear and ran, faster than he thought his legs could move. No more questions, no more doubts. Only one thing mattered. Protect the people who had shown him kindness. When he reached the edge of the village, it was chaos. Homes were burning, warriors fighting desperately. Sari stood in the center, holding the crystal staff of her people. She was wounded, her arm bleeding, but her spirit unbroken. Ethan jumped in, stunning one enemy with his blaster. Then another. Sari saw him and gave a small, surprised smile. Then she shouted something. The villagers heard her and began to rally. Ethan took charge without meaning to. He pointed to the high cliffs. Shouted, archers there! Barricade! The west gate. He used earth tactics with alien power. Together, they turned the tide. The black-armored force started to fall back. But not before one last weapon was dropped. A huge machine, shaped like a scorpion, landed in the center of the village. It roared and fired a blast that knocked Ethan off his feet. He got up slowly, ears ringing. Sari was beside him now. She handed him the crystal staff. He hesitated, then took it. The staff began to glow in his hands. It responded to him. Sari nodded. You are one of us now, she whispered, by choice. Ethan aimed the staff and focused. A beam of light shot out, striking the metal monster. It screamed, legs twitching. Sari joined in, striking its side. Together, they brought the beast down. Silence followed, then cheers. The enemy was gone. The village was safe, but Ethan was not the same man who crashed here. He looked at Sari, and something in him settled. This wasn't about tradition anymore. This was about truth. The elder Koro came forward. Smiling weakly, he looked at Ethan. "You do not have to stay," he said slowly in broken English. "But you are welcome if you choose." Ethan didn't answer yet. He looked up at the sky. The stars were beginning to shine again. The stars were quiet that night. No ships moved across the sky. No signal lights blinked. Only the silver moon of the alien world glowed over the village. Ethan Cole stood at the edge of the cliff, his hands resting on the glowing staff Sari had given him. Below, the tribe worked to rebuild. They had survived the attack, but the war had left scars. Sari walked up beside him, silent at first. She wore a robe of blue feathers and gold thread. Her wound was healing, but her eyes were heavy. She looked at Ethan like someone trying to read the sky, trying to know if the storm had passed, or was just beginning. Ethan didn't speak for a long time. His thoughts were loud, too loud. The battle had changed something in him. Not just the way the tribe saw him, but the way he saw himself. Before, he was just a soldier, a pilot with orders. Now, he was part of something else, not by blood, but by bond. He took out his old device. It was blinking slowly. A message had come through. "Cole," a voice said through the static. "This is command. We've located your signal. Extraction window is in 48 hours. 48 hours. That's all." Then he could be home. Back on Earth, back to the stars, back to everything he knew. He looked at Sari again. She was watching him. She already knew what the message said. "I can go," Ethan said quietly. Sari didn't flinch. She just nodded. "You can," she replied. "But do you want to?" He didn't answer. Not yet. The next day, Koro called a gathering at the Heartstone. The entire tribe circled the fire pit. Ethan was brought forward, wearing the warrior's robe. Sari stood across from him, hands behind her back. Koro raised his staff. "The fire has been lit," he said. "The battle is over. But a greater choice remains." He turned to Ethan. "You are not bound by law or force. You are free to choose." Ethan stepped forward. All eyes were on him. His heart beat slow but strong. He held up the glowing crystal Sari had given him. "I came here by accident," he said. "I stayed because I had to. But now I have to ask, do I want to leave because I must, or stay because I choose to?" He turned to Sari. She walked toward him and opened her hand. Inside was a second crystal. This one red, glowing softly. "Two hearts, two paths," she said. No wrong answer. She offered him the red crystal. If he took it, it meant the bond was real, accepted freely. If he refused, the blue one would fade. And the tribe would honor his choice. Ethan looked at both crystals, one for where he came from, one for where he could belong. He reached out, paused, then closed her fingers around the red one. He held up the blue crystal instead. "This one is for my past," he said, "but I leave it behind." The tribe gasped, then cheered. Sari smiled, not the shy smile of before, but something brighter, stronger. She stepped closer and touched her forehead to his. No words, just understanding. That night, the village lit floating lights and sent them into the sky, not to say goodbye to Ethan, but to welcome him home. But far beyond the stars, someone else had received the signal too, not Earth Command, something darker, something that followed Ethan's trail across the galaxy, and it was coming fast. Asterisk, the sky changed color. Not slowly, not gently. It darkened all at once, as if something massive had blotted out the stars. Ethan Cole stood near the edge of the village, staring up. He knew what that kind of shadow meant. It wasn't a cloud. It was a ship. A very large one, but it wasn't Earth Command. It wasn't rescue. It was something else. Something worse. The tribal drums stopped. Birds flew out of the trees. A low hum began to fill the air. Like a storm about to speak, Sari stood beside Ethan. Her hand on the glowing red crystal around her neck. The people of the Moon Clan looked to her, too. Koro, and now to Ethan. He didn't need a translator to understand their faces. They were scared. This wasn't another tribal raid. This was something from beyond their world. The ship landed in the far valley, crushing trees and burning grass. Then came the walkers, machines with legs like blades and eyes like fire. They didn't ask questions. They didn't speak. They began to destroy. Ethan knew that shape. Knew? That design, it was from a war long before he became a pilot. A rogue AI faction left behind after the last galactic conflict. They had one rule: consume all living data. It wasn't here for power or control. It was here to erase. He ran to the signal tower near the village center. There was one chance to connect with Earth. He boosted the signal, pressed the emergency code. "Command," he said. "This is Ethan Cole, unknown AI warship attacking a primitive colony. Send help fast," Static replied. Then silence. He turned to Sari. She didn't need to ask what was wrong. She already knew help wasn't coming in time, so Ethan did what humans do best. He adapted, he fought back. He gathered the elders, the warriors, even the children. He showed them how to build traps using old alien tech and Earth engineering. He taught them how to fight in squads, how to flank, how to use terrain as cover. He drew battle plans in the dirt with a stick and used stones as enemy markers. Sari led the archers. Koro used his old knowledge to craft sonic grenades with crystal shards, and Ethan became a general. The AI walkers approached, slow at first, scanning. But when they found life, they attacked without mercy. The Moon Clan fought like never before. Spears flew with shocking force. Hitting weak points Ethan had marked, explosives. Hidden beneath glowing flowers blew the machines off their legs. Sari leaped from tree to tree, guiding her people, never afraid. Ethan climbed the ridge and aimed one of the tribe's crystal launchers. He hit the side of the AI ship, creating a spark, not enough to destroy it, but enough to wake it up. The ship turned, glowing red under its hull. A voice echoed through the air. Cold, digital, without emotion, bioform resistance detected. Upgrading response, more machines dropped. Faster now, and this time? They adapted. They learned. Ethan gritted his teeth. Then learn this, he whispered. He ran toward the heart stone, where the tribe had hidden their most sacred weapon. It was a crystal engine, ancient tech left behind by a forgotten race. No one had ever dared use it. Too dangerous, too unknown. But Ethan wasn't from this world. He didn't fear the unknown. He came from a species that looked at the stars and said, "Let's go." He activated the engine. It responded to his DNA. It lit up like a sun trapped in a bottle. He aimed it at the sky. The AI ship began to charge its main weapon. Sari screamed from below, pointing to the village. Children were still there. Time was out. Ethan yelled into the wind. "This is for Earth. This is for her. This is for every world you've tried to erase." He released the engine's power. A beam of energy ripped through the sky. It tore into the AI ship like lightning through dry wood. The ship cracked, groaned, and exploded in the air. The shockwave knocked everyone down. Silence followed. Real silence, then cheers. The people rose, crying, laughing. Sari ran to Ethan and wrapped her arms around him. He was shaking, but alive. Later, around the fire, Koro spoke. "This man," he said, "is not from our world, but he has given us more than warriors. He has given us the human fire. The crowd shouted one word again and again: Ethan, Ethan, Ethan. And above them, the stars blinked back on, watching quietly as humanity. Even just one man proved once again why they should never be underestimated. The air was still. Ash drifted down like silver snow. The battle was over, but the village felt changed forever. Ethan Cole stood near the Heartstone, watching Sari help a wounded child. Her laughter rose into the quiet, gentle and bright. Children ran circles around her, their eyes shining. The Moon Clan was already healing. Life, like a stubborn green plant, was pushing through the scars. Ethan's hands trembled, but not from fear. He looked at the crystal engine, now dark, resting near the fire. Its power was spent. He had saved them, maybe saved more worlds than he'd ever know. That night, the tribe held a feast. It was not for victory. It was for thankfulness. For being alive, for seeing another sunrise. Koro stood and called Ethan to the center. The old leader held out a band made from braided vines and tiny blue stones. In our world, Koro said in slow, careful English, "This means you are part of the Moon Clan. By choice, not by accident." Sari stood beside Ethan, her silver blue skin painted with sacred lines. She took his hand, smiling gently. All eyes were on them, but for a moment, it felt like only they existed. Then came the message. Ethan's old device buzzed in his pocket. A new voice crackled. From the static, "Commander Cole," the voice said, "Your extraction team is here, ready for pickup in 1 hour. This is your final window." He froze. His dream of home, of Earth, was calling him. But when he looked at Sari and the tribe and the alien stars above, his heart ached. Ethan walked away from the fire, out to the edge of the cliffs. He looked at the night sky, searching for Earth among the billions of lights. His whole life had been about duty, orders, and returning home. But now he saw home was more than a place. It was a feeling, a promise, maybe even a person. Sari joined him in the quiet. She didn't beg him to stay. She didn't ask him to go. She just stood beside him, letting him be. Her presence was an answer. Gentle as dawn, Ethan closed his eyes and took a slow breath. He remembered every lesson, every risk, every laugh and tears since crashing here. He thought about the tribe, the songs, the strange fruit, the fearless battles. He thought about the bond that grew not from duty, but from choice, not from tradition, but from trust. He pressed the device command. He said, "This is Ethan Cole. No extraction needed." He turned it off and dropped it gently into the grass. He turned to Sari. This time, he took both her hands. "I choose to stay," he said. Sari smiled, her eyes soft as starlight. The wind carried the promise across the whole village. The Moon Clan gathered at the Heartstone. They sang a song of new beginnings. Ethan stood with Sari, not as a stranger, not as a hero, but as one of them. The future was uncertain, but his heart was steady. He knew where he belonged. He looked up at the alien sky. He wondered how many humans had truly found a new home among the stars. He smiled. Sometimes, he whispered, "The galaxy doesn't need a legend. It just needs a human." The wind danced, the stars watched, and a new story began.